Today we're going to talk about estimation. Do you know what the word estimation means? Think about where you might have heard the word estimate or estimation. Do you know what the word estimate means? When you make an estimate, you make a smart guess. So, what that means is you look at what you have or what you know, and then you make a guess. So, let's look at this example. The bag shows us 50 marbles. So, if I wanted to estimate how many were in the jar, how many would you say? Would 10 be a good estimate? No. Would a million be a good estimate? No, that's probably too many because we want to look at what we know. And if we know that the bag has 50 marbles, we can make a guess at how many are in the jar. My guess would probably be maybe 100 or 150. What's your guess? You estimate when there are too many of something to count, like a gaggle of geese. You could never count all those geese, but you could estimate how many there are. Stars in the sky, way too many to count. So it can't be exact, but you could estimate. What would you estimate here? How many stars do you think you see? Let's look at these two jars. If you were going to estimate which jar had more, which one would you say? The one with the gumballs or the one with the beads? I would say the one with the beads, and I can tell that because the beads are smaller. Even though the jars are almost the same size, the beads are smaller, which means there's probably a lot more beads. Which jar has 100? So it's asking you to estimate which jar has 100 because you can't count them. So when I look at A, I see the bears, and they're kind of big. When I look at jar B, it has beads, and they're pretty small. And then when I look at jar C, it looks like it has Skittles, and they're pretty small also. But which jar do you think has 100? I think it's jar B because there's lots of them and they're small. Jar C doesn't look like it has quite 100, and same with jar A, especially because it's big bears in jar A. Let's make another estimation. So if we know that this first jar shows 100 jelly beans, and we know that the last jar shows 400 jelly beans, how many jelly beans do you think are in this middle jar? Would a guess of 50 be a good estimate? No, because I know that there are more than 100. How about a guess of 500? No, because I know that there's going to be less than 400 because I look at my two jars. So, what would be a good estimate? I would say maybe 200. What do you think? If we look at this jar and we see that it has 10 cubes in it, how many do you think are in this jar? Would 5 be a good estimate? No, because I know that this jar over here has more cubes. I would say 20 would be my estimate. Do you think 20 is a good estimate? Let's look at the turtles. I can see that there's 2 turtles here. I don't really need to count them because I can look and see quickly that that's 2. So what's a good estimate for how many turtles are here? 5? No, that's probably too low. I would guess maybe 10 or 15. And when you estimate, you don't have to be exact. You don't have to be right. Last one. Oh, I see one bead here in my hand. Estimate how many beads this is. 100? No, probably not. 5? No, I think probably more than 5. So my guess would probably be maybe 12 or 13. That's an estimate. You use what you can see and what you know to make a guess. What's something that you can estimate?